Welcome to the FoundHer Podcast.
We are two women who knew nothing about starting a business, but with our faith and a lot of determination, we founded our company that has grown to over 7 figures in just 3 years.
We're sharing all that we've learned, our secrets to building a brand and a long-lasting foundation to gain time and financial freedom.
We're both moms to 4 kiddos, and through the peaks and valleys of being a business owner, we're finding our true purpose, and it's more than we ever imagined.
So join us as we get real and have some fun along the way.
Oh my gosh, can you believe it?
We're finally here.
We're finally here. We've been talking about this, I think, for about, 4 years at least.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. And if you only knew how long it actually took us to get the camera lined up. So we're here, but we finally did it and we're really excited. So welcome to the FoundHer Podcast.
Yay.
Yeah. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned a lot and we want to share a lot.
Right. So I think let's start off. Let's introduce ourselves.
I know.
Let's start with us.
Yeah, okay.
Who are we?
I'm going to interview you, okay?
Oh, good. Let's go.
Okay.
Interview me. Now I gotta remember your question.
Okay,
So I ask back.
where are you from? Who are you? What do you do? How old are you?
Well, I have many names, many personalities. My name is Dee.
Yeah.
Diane.
Yeah.
And if you hear Heather yelling, Deirdre, that's actually me as well. So
Alter ego.
yeah, that is when it's like business mode and we need an answer. So my name is Diane. And I am from Hull, Massachusetts.
Yep. And you like to go by D or DD?
Yeah, D or DD. Yeah. If I hear Diane, I'm like, oh boy, what did I do?
Yeah. So you're from Hull?
Yeah.
You grew up in Hull?
Yes.
You're a beach girl?
Oh, yes.
And where did you meet your husband?
I met him in college. I was interning at the time where he was going to college at Curry College.
And how long have you been married?
Oh gosh, now you're going to make me do math. 11 years. Almost 12.
11 years?
Yeah, almost 12.
years. And what did you go to college for?
I actually went to college for athletic training. So.
And you met Tyler like as a trainer, right?
Yeah, but I did not cover baseball. He was a baseball player. I technically did not cover baseball, but yes, that's where I met him in the training room.
Yeah.
And I actually hated him at first.
In those 12 years, you've been busy.
Yes.
Getting busy.
Getting busy. Yes. We have 4 kiddos. We have 4 boys. So 8, 6, and twin 4-year-old boys.
And a lot of dogs. You're like a big dog rescue person. You're super passionate about that.
Yes. I love my bully breeds. So at the time where we had the most dogs, we had 3. And unfortunately, we've lost 2 of them. So now we just have 1, Big Vincent, left. Yes.
Okay. And now this is a random question, but I do think it helps get to know you. Okay. So let's say you have your dream weekend. What would your dream weekend look like? Where would you be? What would you be doing? Like what's your ideal vacay?
Well, I think it's a repeat of my bucket list vacation that I actually took. So I would be in Alabama and I would be staying in Birmingham. And on Saturday, I'm going to an Alabama football game. Tailgating because there's nothing like it. And then on Sunday, I'm at Talladega for a NASCAR race.
No, it is. Yeah.
It's epic.
That's like definitely. And in between the nights, you have line dance.
Oh, yes. We're going to go line dancing on Friday night when we first get there. Saturday night, we'll go out somewhere really cool for dinner. Yeah, that's a dream. And then on Sunday after the race, maybe we do some boat time or something on a lake.
Hot tub time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's good. I did that weekend actually back in 2016. I did do it.
Okay. And then so you were an athletic trainer, but then you kind of jumped into retail and you did that for how many years?
Oh my gosh. You're really making me think. Okay. So yes, I was in athletic training and I had a job before I graduated college and I had a gap of time in between graduating and starting my job. And Tyler at the time got a job up in northern Maine. And when I say northern, I mean
like
3 hours north of Bangor. Like when we were driving there, I was like, where are we going? There's north of Bangor. I didn't even know this existed. And yeah, I could see Canada from my front yard. But so I ended up going up there with them because I was like, what the heck? I've got a couple months. Like, let me go live somewhere else and experience something else and see what it's all about. And so I moved up there and I had been working the time for limited brands and there was a management position open. My boss was like, take it, so easy. You're going to be fine. You're managing yourself. So just do it. It's more money, whatever.
Yeah.
And I did that. And then I was there for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I called my boss who I'd known for like 5 years. And I was like, 4 years. I was like, I'm not coming back. And I stayed in retail. Actually never came back for that job. And then I've worked in retail. So that would be,
but like management level. Like
management.
And...
Yeah. So I started off at the bottom, very, very bottom. I was an associate and I worked my way all the way up. Almost 20 years. Yeah. Almost 20 years I've been in retail because I was in retail when I was in college.
Yeah. That's funny. So we both had 20-year careers before
starting doing this
together.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think my 20 years includes this. And includes this.
Because I'm significantly older than you.
I mean, you want to say it, I'll let you say it, but I didn't say it.
Wait, how old are you? Yes, we do.
39.
This is a raw and real situation here.
39.
39?
39. Let me bubble that one more time.
That's okay.
39.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, I think you're never too old to like do what you want. Like do what you want.
Yeah, right? It's totally fine.
Because I'm significantly older than you.
Okay, well, your turn's coming up next. Any other questions?
No, I think
that was good.
Like a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're going to get to know a little bit about who we are.
Right. Well, now it's your turn.
Okay. I'm Heather. I'm 46.
You're just going to go right for it, right at the beginning.
Yeah. There are no secrets here. There is nothing to hide, nothing unshareable. We're going to talk about everything.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to be real and raw. So if we can't even talk about our age, then what are we doing? Yeah. So I live here in Rentham, outside of Boston. I live on a lake and I've been there ever since I moved out here from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan.
You're not letting me interview
school.
You're just giving it all.
Yeah. Went to college in Ohio.
What brought you out here from Michigan?
Met a boy. And he was like, if we're going to continue this, I'm just so you know, like, I'm never moving to the Midwest. Like, I'm like Boston through and through, like live and die here. And I was like, okay. Like, I didn't really have anything to stay for. So I knew that going into it. Love the Northeast. I love it out here. Oceans, mountains, water, like the whole thing.
You got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. We've been on the lake ever since we got married in 2001. Yeah. I also have 4 kiddos and are a little bit older than yours. Like I start where your oldest is. So I've got my little guy's 8. And then I've got daughters that are 12, 14, and 16. So I am like just getting into the thick of teenage drama.
And oh gosh, the conversations that I witness you have, thank goodness sometimes, because I'm like, holy smokes. But I do have to say, I'm very appreciative of them because they are built-in babysitters for me.
Good. They are built-in babysitters. No, they are good kids. They keep me super busy. I'm just basically an Uber driver.
But you just hit a big milestone. What was that?
Yeah, Avery got her license. So at least she can drive.
That's
herself.
One. And she can help with pickups.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's a junior. So
you should get her like a little taxi cab, like magnet for her car for Christmas. Since she's helping and all, or a little meter that she puts on.
Oh she's gonna start charging me.
Right?
Yeah.
And you did not do this for your living. So what's your previous life?
Oh, yeah, I was a nurse for 21 years at Children's Hospital in Boston. Yeah.
But what'd you do there?
I was in an ICU step down unit. And I was there since it started. Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, I'm really glad I did it. I worked through, the first year and a half or so of COVID. And then I really was getting burned out because we had been doing this for almost 2 years. Yeah. I was like living a double life, working like night weekends and then doing this all week and then going back and doing that night weekends. I was like, zero quality of life. And I felt like I was dying. So something had to give and I had to make a choice. And so here we are.
Yeah. And that's something we'll dig into a little bit more about. Yeah. That'll come later of
lots of
how
stories,
that
lots
happened.
Of stories to tell and unfold there.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, and I am just recovering from a little cold, so I've got a little bit of a rasp today. So
that's okay.
I need to drink.
Okay. So you ready to talk about what is it that we do?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how we met.
Well, that's a story.
That's fun.
That is a fun one.
Yeah. So we have this mutual, amazing and wonderful friend, Katie.
She's going to be on at some point soon, I'm sure.
Yep. She's got her own small business, but I met her at preschool, and she's a photographer. And she had asked me, I've always done I always had creative outlets. Like, even though I was a nurse, I always have been creative. And so I dove into photography a little bit here or there. So she asked me to come and help her with a class because I had a different camera and she thought I could be beneficial to people there. So I went as her assistant, and actually my daughter was a model.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. And so it was in her backyard. And
I was there because she had asked me to do the flowers. So we'll tell you a little bit about how Only Pretty started in a couple of minutes. But she was actually my wedding photographer. So I've known Katie since, my gosh, I met her in 2011. So I've known her a really long time, and she was my wedding photographer. And then when I started the business, I talked to her about it. And so she was like, oh gosh, we're doing this photography class. Can you do the flowers? And then, just stay and take the class because you don't know what you're doing taking pictures anyways. I was like, cool, I'll learn.
Yeah. So neither of us were really part of the class.
No.
So we kind of just started talking while everybody else was actually.
Well, we actually got seated. Somehow we were seated at the same table. You, me, and Gray, we were stuck at the same table.
Yeah. So you kind of were like asking me for help, but you were just doing flowers out of your garage. And talk about why did you want to start with flowers out of your garage? Yeah. Because it actually surprisingly was not, I know this, out of a passion for flowers.
No, it was not. It was savvy business.
It was. Like, even way back then, like, it was like a means to an end. I mean, yes, we do love flowers, and of course, like, it's
a big part of
beautiful, but that wasn't like the real reason that you started that.
No, I knew ultimately. So I remember standing up and like when I worked in Maine, and I always just told myself, like, I want to do this for myself one day. Like, why am I always working for somebody else? I want to do this for me. Yeah. And so my wedding was actually in a magazine, and someone, when I was interviewed for it, they were like, well, who's your planner? Who was your planner? And I was like, me? I'm so confused. Why are you not understanding my answer? Right. I was like, me. Granted, I didn't do the flowers for it, but it was completely my vision. The whole thing, everything that was selected was my vision. And so I knew, I was like, I want to open a space one day. And I knew that I wanted to do some sort of store. But I refused to go into debt. You'll hear more about that later. But I refused. And I was like, well, I need something that has no overhead to it that I could actually start to make some money on. Yeah. So, here comes the flowers. And I started doing them out of my basement because there's no overhead when you're doing anything from a flowers perspective. Sure, you need some cutters and some buckets, and flower food, but that,
like literally all stuff you can do out of your garage.
Yeah. Like at the beginning, I used like my garden pruners,
so
right?
And then, so I had a side business also like out of my garage. Like, so we both kind of started garage businesses, but,
we were just talking about it. I don't know. We actually did partake in the class for a little bit, but then I remember we were standing over by like the food and we were chatting and you're like, what are you doing? And I was trying to explain it to you. And I was like, but this isn't like long term. I see, more and whatever. And then I was like, you have all this stuff. Like, let's just work together. Can you help me decorate weddings? Yeah.
So friends have always just asked me to decorate their house. So I really was just kind of decorating on the side, I would think. And it was back in the time.
And also your house is like amazing from a decor perspective. Amazing.
I have a lot of decor. It's not like any kind of a fancy house by any means, but I have always really loved to decorate. And I think I get that from my mom, actually. But it was back in the time when, you'd go like antiquing and we'd repurpose different things or like bringing antiques into your house and refinishing them. So I was always like refinishing furniture and had all like the old ladders and the bucket. I don't know, like all that old stuff. And that's kind of what the wedding vibe, I think, was. Yeah,
that was definitely
back then. At that time was all these rustic barn weddings. So I'd bring all the decor. And then along the way, you really taught me about flowers and how to do flowers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I remember I took a couple of like education classes because I knew that I needed help. Like, sure, I knew organically what I wanted things to look like and I understood that, but there's definitely mechanics that you've got to learn. But yeah, really cool. That was fun. Remember those days we used to go antiquing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So much so that then you convinced me to just get a little booth. Just get a little booth in this consignment store. We can just like, for fun, we can just like refinish furniture and like we can make it so cool.
Right. And then, if we get that. And then like, actually, let's go do this. And then actually, let's go do that. But we're going to talk about that later. There's so much to talk about because this story is so fun.
We don't need to talk about that now.
No, we're going to talk about, I think we got to talk a little bit about what the heck are we doing here? What is FoundHer Podcast? What are we sharing?
Oh, right. We're not just going to talk about ourselves.
No.
You get real sick of that real quick. Yeah. So I think one thing that maybe makes us a little bit different is that we're, I don't know, what's like another word for like a go-getter. Like
grit.
Like like it's gritty. I feel like people overuse the word grit, but like if we don't know the answer to something, we won't stop until we just figure it out and figure out how. I mean, we knew nothing about starting a business. We knew literally nothing about starting a podcast and about, but I feel like we've learned so much over the years that we really want to share it we've seen a ton of other small businesses in our community and particularly women-owned businesses that just are struggling so much. So I think we feel like we've learned so much, like how can we share and help?
Right.
And be real about it and not sugarcoat it and the struggles of like motherhood and having all these kids and like that balance that everybody like tries to figure out that's, impossible. Like, I don't know. We want to talk about that and share everything we learned. So maybe it can help other, small businesses speed up their productivity and help them get to where they want to be faster because they don't have to learn all the hard things. Right. Make less mistakes. I mean, I wish that we had that. I mean, we have learned from some people, but I still wish that we could
go faster.
That's what, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, that's all you want to do is go faster. Get to where you
want to be yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one thing too, I think about it. And I remember we were struggling about talking about this as starting a business or running a business, right? I mean, I was a district manager for many years, but it's one thing to work for somebody else and their money. But when it's your own, it's like, I was paralyzed. Remember? I remember one of the times in the little store, I was like paralyzed. I was like, that's $5. That's a lot of money. Like, and you were like, it's just an Amazon Christmas light. And I was like, I don't care.
I was like, I really want to get so we can have music. Do you think that we could afford to get Pandora?
I was like, well, that's $11.99 a month. No, not now. Let's just play.
I didn't think it was that much. No. But still, we were always very thrifty.
But it's one thing. It really was. I remember that was one of the hardest things for me to go ahead and get that mindset shift of very easy. I remember going into the stores.
Well, because it was our money. Yeah. I mean, we had no money. We had no investors. We had no startup funds. I was not in a personally financial good spot at all. Like
no.
None of it made logical sense actually.
But it's like when I was in that last job, I remember like someone would be like, hey, can I get, it's called a Zephyr case. It's like a cooling unit. I wouldn't even, sure. Yeah, good. Get one. Awesome. Let's order it. That thing's like thousands of dollars. And now I'm like, you want to order paper cups for complimentary coffee? Well, I don't know. So it's exciting. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about as we share that journey. And I think also to bringing in people that have been influential to us or who we've worked with, whether it's in the store or in our service side of the business, right? Like just bringing all of the people in to have a conversation because it's about working together, man. It could be so lonely as a business owner.
Well, and even this, we talk a lot about efficiency and streamlining, and we'll talk a lot about systems and processes. But I feel like one thing that spurred us on to start this is that we get asked questions about what we're doing in our business all the time from like local or, other small business owners. And we talk about it all the time anyway. And we're like, okay, if we could just put all this in one place to reference and reach more people, we would stop having all the conversations that we're having all the time anyway about what we've done and learned.
And also you're notorious for signing up for every bit of training that's available on Instagram.
Well, how are you going to learn?
I know, but we got to weed through it, figure out which is the one that we're going to do. And it was, do you remember that time? But earlier this year, we sat down, we were doing a training about, with this company.
Right.
About email lists.
Yeah, you never think you know enough, and you always want to learn a way to do it better, faster, quicker.
Yeah. And we were interviewed. So we were getting like the kickoff with the founder of this company, or was it the assistant, whatever, somebody. Yeah. And they were interviewing us and we were telling our story. You remember what she said?
Yeah. She was like, can I just go get my notebook? Like,
I think we're actually going to switch this around. I think I need to learn from you.
Like, she literally stopped the Zoom call to go get a notebook to like write down what we were doing in our business.
But then I was like, wait a minute. So did we not get selected? Are we not part of this training? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. She was like, I don't know. I really think she didn't. We never moved forward with it. I hope we didn't pay for it. But no, I don't think they ended up teaching us any. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we were further along than I think I gave us credit for.
Which is, it happens to
actually
every business owner, right? You never pause and look at and celebrate your accomplishments. Like, even if it could be your biggest goal and you're like, yes, I just did it. You're like, all right, but I should have done it quicker. I should have done it faster. Okay, now I got to do this though. Yeah. Rather than just taking the minute. Laura's really great about that, making us stop and say, guys, we just did that. And learn, how did we do it right? Then recognize all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
still terrible with that.
That was cool though. That was funny. So yes. So we're going to bring all of the information, whether it was something we learned from, something that a tool that we actually use, a tool that maybe we tried and didn't work. What did we learn from it? So all of that, and then hear from all the people that have helped us along the way, which is cool.
Yeah. And we want to answer
questions,
all of your questions.
So that's going to tell us a little bit about that segment too.
Yeah. So whether or not you are thinking about starting a business, wondering if you have what it takes, if you can do it or not, like even everything from before you start, I would say up until you're growing. So last year we had 16 employees. Mm-hmm. We have a little bit less. We have a little bit more of a compact team now, but we're still around 10 or so. So anywhere, and that's all within the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. But I think just any kind of questions, or how do we balance motherhood and working and being an entrepreneur, and anything in between.
Right.
What's the segment called?
No question unanswered.
No question unanswered.
Yes. So we already have a list of them, and we've actually, we'll put it out there too, so you guys can submit your questions, and it will be just something every week that you can go ahead and submit. And there also, our new website's coming out hopefully later this week. And
totally like unfiltered on like, there's
raw answer,
no topic off limits.
Yeah.
This is clearly going to be an unedited.
Or is it no question off limits?
I think it's both. It's no question off limits.
We should have wrote that down. It's a new segment that's coming. So note to self, have your notebook and a pen at all times.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, but we want to hear from you, and we want to connect with you guys, and we're here to help.
Yeah. And then lastly, I think let's just share a little bit about how did we come up with this name? Because at first we were like, okay, it's really going to be only Prettier related and talk about only Prettier Design. And now here we are introducing FoundHer. What does FoundHer mean?
Oh, it means a whole lot of things. I think first and foremost, I think that you, when we were talking about our intro, you had mentioned like we really are finding out who we are. Mm-hmm. So I feel like on this journey, we've truly and truly found ourselves and maybe our true calling, our purpose.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk definitely more about for sure. Our faith plays a huge part in that. So I feel like we've found ourselves and each other.
Yeah.
And also obviously we're founders.
Right. And we're a women-owned business, right? FoundHer, like you get it. But yeah, I think I don't want to negate the part of like we found each other in a sense of like, you know, sometimes people sit there in conversations with us and they're like, you guys are bickering. We're not actually, we're having really solid conversation and trying to get somewhere. And I think a lot of times partnerships can either sink quickly or they go really well. And I think one thing that we've been able to do is not only just have, hey, we're business partners, but also like, look how close our families have become. And also us, like, we can tell each other anything. And I can be like, I'm so mad at you. And you can be like, you're chomping of your chips is really annoying. Can you go away? And that doesn't offend me.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
fine.
I think it's a disease.
It's fine.
Does anything else have the disease?
Don't put your soup near me.
No, I think I know it's a little bit of like psychology, right?
Yeah.
Like in therapy and how to work that closely with another person and while staying honest and true to yourself and not compromising and
right.
you know,
And
all of that stuff.
it's life decisions, right? Like you're talking about building your financial
future
portfolio for your family, right? Like generational wealth, not just for you
Yeah.
in this moment. Like we got to think about 8 kids between the two of us going off to college or starting their lives, you know.
Yeah.
But then also we're not doing this just to, you know,
Right.
retire with nothing, right? What's our goal? What's our dream? So
Yeah.
And
we're gonna talk about it all. We're gonna talk about money,
time, process, people,
therapy.
Our story even more in depth. There's still things to talk about, more about the business. I mean, there's so many things. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
So join us. We'll have new episodes out every single week. And we just can't wait for you guys to be on that journey with us. So we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.